I know you're a f***ing Zionist.
Is the certification of the vote part of the transfer of power?
Has it not been challenged before?
Wait, holy, I just got an echo in here. I said, is the certification of the vote, is that part of the transfer of power?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, but I'm saying, has it not been challenged before?
No, not with violence, no. Actually, wait, I don't know, no, wait, no,
violence, bro?
No,
Come on,
hold on.
dude.
Wait, hold on, I'm sorry. When has it ever been delayed before?
A Republican on this weird committee that she's starting. It sounds very like Russian to have a committee of advisors.
Wait a minute, no.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, not at all. No.
I'm going to be voting specifically Republican. I don't want to say MAGA. I'm not a big fan of Trump either, but I will be voting on it just based off the cultural war. I've seen, and I could be wrong on this, but I've seen such a level of rhetoric that his anti-Semitism, Jew hatred that is coming from our colleges. Not only that, I've seen a level of anti-American, anti-Western values. So at this point, like, honestly, my vote is just to like signal to them, like, enough's enough. Kick them out.
What are American values that you're referring to? Can you give some examples?
Yeah, no worries on that. So let's see, American values. It's a good question.
Well, how about let's run, because these mean a lot to me right now, okay? How about the Constitution? Have you seen anybody on the left try to undermine the Constitution in the same way that Donald Trump has? For instance, when Donald Trump says things like, I would suspend the Constitution.
Yeah, so Destiny, let me raise this then. So Kamala Harris, she has violated the Fifth Amendment rights of many people.
Wait. According to who?
Do you not deny that there was courts that pushed to her office saying that you have incriminating evidence that you have evidence that proves that this person's not guilty? You need to release it. Is that not do you not think that's not a Fifth Amendment violation?
I don't know if that counts. You're talking about like exculpatory evidence withholding or whatever. This is a Brady violation, right? I don't know. Is this a real thing that actually happened? If I go and look this up and I actually read about the story, did this actually happen, or is this another conservative lie?
I honestly, you can look it up, sir, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty well documented that there was exculpatory evidence that a court had to basically tell them, you will release this evidence. It's happened on a few occasions. So when I say this too, is like, listen, I understand. I used to be in law enforcement and we had to call out our dirty cops. And I think that was a good thing. But we also should talk about prosecutors. Prosecutors enjoy full immunity. And
hold on.
With that,
wait. When you say full immunity,
yes, sir.
What do you mean by that?
That's what the Supreme Court did. That's what the Supreme Court. That's what they described it as.
Hold on.
Immunity.
I believe that prosecutors enjoy immunity from civil penalties or civil lawsuits that are connected to them performing their job. Like you can't sue a prosecutor for which is, I'm pretty sure that's basically equal up and down through the executive, from police officers and qualified immunity all the way up to I think judges also have a form of immunity where a judge can't be sued for civil stuff, right?
Yeah, but so the Supreme Court defined it as such, as full immunity. This is the case law on that.
Yeah, but not criminal immunity. You keep saying full immunity, but it's not full immunity from everything, and it's not criminal immunity. It's just for civil stuff.
Okay, yes, sir. If we're going to define it down, yes. I'm just saying what the language they use. But what I'm saying, though, is that we do see prosecutors doing have you guys heard of the Jay Gardner case?
I feel like I heard the name, but it's been a while. Maybe Jessiah remembers or knows more?
No, I have no idea who that is.
Okay, I mean, I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time.
Yeah, so can you be really concise, because like you're making the argument that somehow that there have been Fifth Amendment violations, and even if we were to grant you all of that, and the reason why I guess I would kind of want to skip it, like just for the sake of argument, even if I granted you that somewhere along the way during her prosecutorial career there were potential Fifth Amendment violations, Donald Trump has publicly called for the termination of the entire document. So not just the Fifth Amendment, but 1 through 27. So wouldn't that be a bigger problem?
Yeah, so I can accept that premise. Okay, so let me go. Okay, I can't argue against that. So just let me go with this. Okay, I'm a mixed person. I'm half black and half white. Okay. I will be voting specifically against cultural wars. For out of nowhere, we have seen identity politics become more toxic than ever. And then I see people saying like, oh, well, these people can't be racist. And listen, this is the only definition of racism. It is prejudice solely based off of ethnicity, race, skin color. Like, there's no power. Like, this is Marxist ideology when they push this.
So saying that Haitians are eating dogs and cats with no evidence?
Yeah, so I guess you could say that is racist, absolutely. But what I'm trying to tell you is, like, Destiny, do you not think that there is anti-white rhetoric coming from the left? You know, when they call someone a cisgender male?
For people older than 22, no. I think that this is largely a problem with kids, and I think it's largely a problem with kids with social media accounts at colleges. When you've got like organizations or like big groups like White Dudes for Harris and stuff, I don't believe it's as big a problem on the left as the right would like it to be made out to be.
And again, like even if it were, has Kamala Harris said anything equivalent or comparable against white people as Donald Trump has said, you know, against brown people like Haitians?
So, like, you know, first of all, okay, so if we're going to frame it like that, has Donald Trump actually said stuff that's entirely racist?
Yeah.
And so you're going to frame it from the dogs and cats, correct?
Yeah. I think that making unsubstantiated claims and signal boosting them that a group of brown-skinned people are eating cats and dogs, I think that's a pretty racist trope, especially when you have no evidence to support it.
But so his running partner is J.D. Vance, and if his constituents are saying this is something they see, are you trying to tell me that people of Springfield, Ohio, are inherently racist?
No, I don't think the people of Springfield, Ohio are making these claims. I think they were made on the internet by people on the internet. Just like I don't think there are real people in North Carolina who are witnessing FEMA blocking aid or whatever. These are just stories that are being fabricated and then amplified by people on social media.
Right.
Okay.
We actually have people. We have people in Springfield, some of who were close to the genesis of these conspiracy theories. Like the woman who shared the meme that her neighbor's cat had gone missing. She's gone on the record and apologizing. She's really upset because she didn't realize that it was going to create such a racist backlash. And it turned out that the story was false to begin with. They found the neighbor's cat just a few days later. So there again, here's the problem. Even if I grant you all these premises, which I don't, I'm just saying that to me it's still a losing argument anyway, because even if J.D. Vance's constituents are making these unsubstantiated claims, when they are contradicted by law enforcement in Springfield, by the mayor of Springfield, by the way, Republican, and the Republican Trump-supporting governor of Ohio, and these people, come out and say, "Hey, shut the fuck up. There is no evidence of these claims being true, and you're actually creating much more harm than good," then a non-racist person would be like, "Oh shit, my bad. My bad. I apologize. I should not have said that. I just heard it from my constituents. I took them at their word. But you know what? Yeah, I'll stop talking about it." And instead, they doubled down.
Yeah. Hey, Jessiah, let me ask you this real quick. Okay. Yes, so I'm going to accept that premise that they definitely shouldn't have, and I agree with you that they shouldn't have brought that up. Yeah. But can we not agree that it's very irresponsible when we're having all-time highs in illegal immigration to put a lot of people under this amnesty law into a city that does not have the resources to deal with it?
Wait, didn't that city explicitly called for them to go there?
Right. Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt you, Anand, but Stephen's right.
Yes, sir.
Well, so a couple of things. So Stephen's right. Springfield was seeking labor, and these legal migrants, they are legal because they are under the I'm blanking on the fucking acronym. Stephen, do you remember
TPS?
What it is?
Temporary protected status?
Yeah. Exactly, which is perfectly legal. It doesn't matter how Republicans feel about it until a judge says otherwise. It's it's a legitimate program under the purview of the President of the United States. So they're here legally. They were invited to Springfield, and you have residents and legal and civic leaders in Springfield saying, "Hey, these are good people who are here at our invitation. They're actually helping the town." And I'll also say we are not seeing record-breaking illegal immigration. Actually, for the past 5 months, we've seen it basically cut in half because of President Biden's executive orders.
Wait. But Jessiah, come on now. Like, let's at least agree that it's definitely record-breaking. Like, you can't sit there and say 3.5 years of record-breaking, be like, "Oh, well, we fixed it now."
The rate collectively was much higher under President Biden than the Trump administration. Yes, but here's my problem. These claims were made recently by J.D. Vance in a context in which, crossings at the southern border, contacts have been cut in half for months. So even, again, this is the problem. Even if I charitably grant you the premise, and I'm trying to be good faith here, it's still a losing argument, because if J.D. Vance had said this a year ago, then it may be more understandable. It would still be wrong, and it would still be right. But at least I guess I could see a labyrinthine bad faith argument about, well, sure, these specific anecdotes are not factual, but he just said it in the heat of the moment because right now we're experiencing record-breaking, crossings at the southern border. But that's not happening. there is no good faith predicate for what J.D. Vance and Donald Trump have done.
Also, I don't think any of the illegal immigration, I don't think it's even a big deal. Do you really think it's affecting us?
Yeah, and so honestly, do you live in a border state?
No, do you?
Well, I don't want to dox myself, but yeah, no, yes, I do. Honestly, I do want to say this is like, yeah, no, it does drain resources. If you have a very large level of influx.
No, I don't think it does. I don't think it affects it all.
Let me just say this. If we have a very large influx of people at a very quick rate, yes, our social service do get, I don't know, like in law enforcement, if you talk to a law enforcement officer, they can tell you that, yes, this does create a heavy strain on our social services.
No,
and maybe
I can prove.
Yes, sir.
Do you work right now as a police officer?
No, I'm done with it, man. I'm done after
Do you have friends that are cops?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
sir.
I can prove right now that the illegal immigration is having basically no impact right now in the United States. Okay. Who do you support more for illegal immigration right now? Trump or Harris?
My bad, I was muted. I don't know. And here's the thing: is like immigration really isn't my largest one, but
I understand.
I support Trump. I support Trump.
So on this issue, so it doesn't matter then because there was a border bill and Trump blocked it. So if it was a really big deal, you probably would have felt more strongly about that. But you have no idea if it's affecting you or not. You don't even know. That's why it doesn't matter if the bill was blocked or not, right?
Yes, sir. Destiny. But come on, can we not sit there and acknowledge that it's how convenient is it that you determine that, oh my God, this open borders policy is not something that's winning the American people over. So we need to do something about it now. 3.5 years later, whenever Trump was there, we did not have this, quadruple level. So what I'm saying to you is basically, that's yeah, of course they want to fix it because now they know there's wrong. It's just like to defund the police, where they're just oh yeah, this isn't, the public doesn't like this.
Literally none of that matters, right? If I went to the hospital and they said, oh, you don't have cancer, and 3 months later I go and I'm hold on, check again. I've got this massive fucking growth in my fucking back. And they look at it oh shit, you do have cancer. The doctor wants to come in and do surgery immediately. I'm never saying to the doctor, well, actually, you misdiagnosed me, so fuck you. I'm going to wait for the other doctor to show up in 6 months when he comes back from his vacation. Fuck you. You would say, okay, well, thank you for finally acknowledging it. Can we fucking fix it? So it's not an issue. It's just a political game. It's some shit that you meme about on Twitter because at the end of the day, you don't know or don't give a fuck or it really has no impact whatsoever. Because there's no way that you look so indifferently at the solution if it was actually a huge fucking problem. There's just no way. It's not possible. You would be incensed that Donald Trump blocked the bill that would have helped to alleviate these issues.
Destiny, I have to disagree with you on this, though, because what did they do? As soon as Donald Trump, he only had, 2-3 million people that had went through their border, and then they slash all that stuff that prevented it. And after 3.5 years, they show up and are like, oh my God, the American people don't like this. I hear what you're saying with your story right there, but come on, man. You have to at least concede to that, right?
Anon, but he shouldn't, because here's the problem. You should check out, there's a right-wing think tank called the Cato Institute. They've been respected for decades. They've written extensively on this. So Title 42 and Remain in Mexico, the meme is that these things were just like a panacea to undocumented immigration. And it's not true. We actually saw the rates of undocumented border crossings raise even after Trump invoked Title 42 and Remain in Mexico. So it clearly wasn't this one-shot kill to border crossings, number one. Number two, the fact of the matter is that when Trump was president, there were issues at the southern border. As a matter of fact, in part, there were 2 government shutdowns under Donald Trump, 2018 and then at the end of 2018 into 2019, 2 separate ones that were in part fueled by Donald Trump demanding that Congress take action to basically comply with his vision for the southern border in terms of increased legislation, increased funding, the wall. So Donald Trump did have issues with the southern border. Now, you can say that the issues were worse under President Biden, and I would agree with that. But it wasn't perfect. He didn't have it all under control. And to the extent that he did have it relatively low, it was because of COVID. So unless we're going to blame, Donald Trump for COVID, and basically count that as a policy win, and we can blame him for all the other shit that went wrong with COVID, this isn't really a winning argument.
Gotcha.
The fact that,
hey, Jessiah, just let me say this real quick.
Sure.
Okay? So yes, COVID absolutely is affected this influence a lot, and we've seen both sides trying to pick and choose from it. Yeah. What I guess I would say on this is that COVID happened at the end of Donald Trump's presidency. So it's not like he had these extreme highs even during then. But no, you know what? I can see to this argument. Let me just ask this for other great speakers who want to get up here. So let me ask you guys this. And Destiny, like honestly, you have my full respect on how you've seen the Middle East. I've been to the Middle East, and I've seen a lot of our leftists, not Democrats, who try to paint this picture as if Israel is the oppressor, but like over half of the Israeli population are descendants of those who were ethnically cleansed out of the Middle East. This is a story of them consolidating and protecting themselves against extremism.
Okay. I don't know what you want me to say, but okay.
Yeah, so Anand, I've got a question for you before you leave.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Remind me, where are you on voting? You said you're going to vote for Trump. You're going to vote for the Republicans?
I'm voting Republicans. I don't even like to say I'm voting Trump. I don't like Trump, but I will be voting Republican this year, sir.
But will you be voting for the Republican candidate for president?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So here's where I'm kind of frustrated by this. And again, you've been very pleasant. We appreciate the conversation. But at the end of the day, you began this conversation saying appealing to American values. And what I go back to is only one of the candidates has publicly demanded that the Constitution be terminated in order to return him to an unlawful second term. He made that comment in December 2022, so nearly 2 years into President Biden's term. He basically said, hey, if you have to shred the Constitution to put my orange ass back in the White House, do it. We've never seen anything like that before. And it sounds like you are generally a conservative person, which is fine. And I want you what?
No, I'm definitely. Dude, I've never voted Republican till this year, but yes, sir.
You're not a conservative person.
Yes, sir.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
sounds like
you have some conservative takes, but that's fine.
Okay.
So we'll delete that part. Okay. The question is, does it sound pretty American to demand that you terminate the most important document to America in order to return you to power? Okay, that's one question. Number two, the peaceful transfer of power is the single most important civic tradition that we have in this country. It was the tradition established by President Washington, reaffirmed by President Adams when he transferred power to Jefferson, who was an opposing figure of the opposing political party, and it was unobstructed until Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the only president to resist the peaceful transfer of power. Is that American? And then the other thing I would ask is, what about a guy who says, hey, listen, I know we kind of like don't do that whole monarchy thing, but I love the idea of sovereign immunity that, King Charles has over in Great Britain, this idea that, the chief executive can't be held any criminally accountable, demanding that. And his attorneys to the United States Supreme Court saying that the president should have immunity from ordering SEAL Team 6 to assassinate political rivals. Is that American? At the end of the day, Donald Trump is the least American presidential candidate we've ever had. And given what he has said and what he's done, a true patriot, in my opinion, would be willing to vote for Democrat, even if they disagree with him about the southern border, even if they think that Democrat as a prosecutor violated someone's Fifth Amendment protections. Just Donald Trump is objectively anti-American in ways that no Democrat is. Yeah,
so Jessiah, this is what you do, and it's a very good question. I can only try to kick back a little bit on it. There's definitely a lot of framing going on in that question. And I know you're in good faith, and I appreciate that because, a lot of people just try to dunk on everyone. Let me say this, okay? So when we start looking at, we cannot sit there and say that the Democrats have not challenged elections. They still, we'd be hard pressed not to find a Democrat that doesn't sit there and say Russian collusion was involved.
I'm so glad you said that. Let's stop right there. No. I don't mean stop right there as an end the conversation because this might even perk Stephen up. I'm glad.
Yes, sir.
Because nobody's talking about challenging elections. Stephen, you want to jump in at any time because I don't want to hog this.
You're good. Go for it. No, you're good.
I was just going to say there's a difference between challenging elections, which you do have the legal right to do, and demanding that the Constitution be terminated. There's a difference between filing suit in court to try to, demand audits, recounts, present evidence, and concocting a fake elector scheme. There's a difference between these things. So even if I grant you again the premise that Democrats have challenged the results of elections in the past, they have gone nowhere near to the legal or cultural extremes as Donald Trump. And just like we talked about with the previous person that we roped in, there are meaningful differences that are worth recognizing. Do you recognize?
Wait. Did they not challenge the electorate in what was it, 2004? Which one was it? Didn't they challenge the electorate?
What do you mean they challenged the electorate? Anon?
My bad. I just muted myself. I'm sorry, sir.
No, it's okay.
Let's just take a look on challenging the electorate. I'm pretty sure that was it under Kerry where they challenged the electorate, first of all, which is a presidential act. But can I say this too, is that this is nothing new. Like, it's not immunity for doing crazy shit. Like, it's immunity underneath your, No,
it is new. It is new. Okay, so a couple of things. Wait a minute. It is new. No president prior to Trump has operated under the assumption that they were entitled to criminal immunity. Why was President Nixon pardoned by President Ford?
Because it was a gentleman's code, right? Or just a code, correct?
Why would he
could you imagine if someone...
why would he need a pardon if he was entitled to presidential immunity?
So, Jessiah, I would say this is that when we open a door to charging our elected officials, like, so here... Also, just
real quick, when you say opening the door to charging election, you're talking about opening a door to letting election officials commit crimes with impunity, just to be clear.
But like, what crimes? It's like, like, crimes do have a certain thing. So if you guys look in a lot of your states, go ahead and take a look at it. Your senators have immunity while they're in session.
Yes.
Justin, no, don't agree with that. Just to be clear.
Wait a minute.
Nobody has criminal immunity. Criminal immunity.
No, it's 100%.
No, he's referring to the speech and debate clause, Stephen, which maybe I'm wrong on that. I do think that.
You can't be charged with like a crime of conspiracy or whatever when you're doing speech and debate on like the fucking. Is that even?
What's the big goddamn difference there? That was written into the immunity. Constitution, Anand. No. That's the point. Wait a minute.
Okay, I hear you.
No. You've said so many things that are worth responding to. So let's work backwards. The speech and debate clause was enshrined into the Constitution explicitly by the Founding Fathers. They knew how to write criminal immunity. Why did they do it specifically in a very narrow instance for some actions of legislators, but didn't do it at all for the president?
Hey, Jessiah, so what I'm saying, what I was bringing in is like, look at your states. Look at your penal code in your states. There's immunity to your members that, your senators, your Congress, all this stuff. There's immunity when they're in session. It is to prevent this type of behavior where someone's like, well, I'm just going to go after you. Like, do you guys really think that New York charges those felonies?
Wait a minute. We can't. We're not going down all these rabbit holes. We got to.
Yes, sir.
So listen. Legislative immunity in very particular instances is a protection. It's a check to protect legislators from an executive who may try to punish them using law enforcement. The Founding Fathers wrote that into the Constitution. And again, very specific, very tailored. It didn't give senators and Congress people sweeping immunity, very specific, very tailored, and none for the chief executive. The point is the Founding Fathers knew how to write an immunity into the Constitution. They chose deliberately not to for the president. So number one, right? You can appeal to the legislature all you want, but that actually serves my argument more than yours because it means, the founders clearly recognized that there were some things protecting legislatures from, but not the executive. Number one. Number two, the Nixon thing, going back to it. The fact of the matter is the only reason you would pardon President Nixon is if both you and Nixon understood that Nixon could be prosecuted. If Nixon was immune, if he was entitled to presidential immunity, which according to Watergate prosecutors, he would have been entitled. We actually have people who investigated Nixon around the time of the Watergate scandal. And they said if Trump v. United States was law of the land during the age of Nixon, Nixon would not have needed the pardon. Nixon probably wouldn't needed to resign from office because what he would have done would have been covered by presidential immunity. Clearly, Nixon and Ford understood that Nixon could be prosecuted. As a matter of fact, we don't even need to speculate because Ford even said it explicitly in his speech about why he pardoned Nixon.
Jessiah, let me ask you this. So do you think they use a threat of law to make him step down?
No, it was the threat of impeachment. It was a threat of
impeachment. But it sounds like that they were using like, no, we could actually charge you for this. So
no. It was,
yes, sir.
Well, wait a minute. So there was the threat that Nixon could be prosecuted after he left office. But the reason that he was forced to resign at the time was because it was such a scandal that a president would do that his own party walked into the White House and said, hey, you're going to be impeached if you don't resign. And if you don't resign and you're impeached, enough Republicans are going to vote to convict you. So you'll be kicked out of office anyway. But the bottom line is there probably would have been no scandal sufficient to merit his resignation if we have a Supreme Court ruling say, hey, you're immune from the Watergate scandal. So the point is, no president understood, no president believed that they were entitled to criminal immunity. So I'm sorry, this is an
Jessiah, can I say this though? When we talk about this with the charges stuff, no, you might not be immune, or maybe they were immune to this prosecution, but you're not immune to the populist point of view. Whenever you do some dirty shit like that, it's like, yeah, dude, guess what? Yeah, it's going to come in. You have to get the vote. It goes through. Hey, Josiah, let me say this. Do you fully believe in our balance? Do you think that we have a quality and we have checks and balances?
Of the three branches?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not enough. As a matter of fact, I think the Supreme Court needs to be checked the fuck out. I think there need to be more checks imposed on the United States Supreme Court. But yes, I do think as a general proposition, we have checks and balances in this country.
Yes, sir. And
I think one has been eroded. I think one has been eroded in terms of presidents. This idea that former presidents can't be prosecuted after they leave office gives them license to commit crime with impunity.
Yeah, but like, shouldn't if we were to say that, shouldn't Trump have prosecuted Hillary Clinton? Like, we definitely had charges.
Well, hang on. So number one, Trump did try to prosecute Hillary Clinton. This is, again, a meme. It's really frustrating. Trump not only called for Hillary Clinton to be prosecuted, he repeatedly, privately and publicly, tried to pressure his Justice Department to prosecute Hillary Clinton. It's just that they couldn't find evidence of a crime.
So I think it's pretty clear that there was evidence of it. Like, you definitely can't just delete.
I'm not an attorney.
Yes, sir.
Maybe you
yes,
are.
Sir.
Maybe you are. But the professional attorneys at the Department of Justice under Donald J. Trump disagreed.
I got you. So just let me say this, Josiah. Like, honestly, there's a lot of us that think that our Department of Justice, especially with the prosecution with the felony charges that came from New York, they had a number. Real quick. Josiah,
wait a minute. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Your entire premise is wrong. The New York charges came. They're at a state level. They have nothing to do with the Justice Department.
Yes, no, it does though, because so hear me on this. The number 3 man in the Department of Justice just drops down and becomes a prosecutor. Like, can we not agree?
No, wait a minute. No, because he left the Justice Department. He was not acting as a member of the Justice Department.
Come on, dude. He just left it out of just goodwill.
Wait. Hang on. At best, and I don't grant you this, but the best you're going to get from this, in theory, is that one guy at the DOJ really wanted to fuck over Trump. And to fuck over Trump, he left the DOJ and had no power or resources of the DOJ to go join a state prosecution against Donald Trump.
And that's awful. Do you not think that that's corrupt as fuck right there?
Hold on. Who are we even talking about right now?
Right. So,
yeah. Okay. My bad, guys. No.
Wait. No, it's not your bad. Hold on. I just want to be clear. Who are we talking about right now?
He's talking about the guy, the number 3, who's the guy whose name escapes me, left the DOJ to go join Alvin Bragg to prosecute Donald Trump. And he's like, that proves that the DOJ is corrupt.
Hold on. Wait. Why would that even prove let's assume that all that's true. Yeah. Couldn't we literally just say this guy really did think that Donald Trump committed a crime, and so he wants to do his best to help another team, and he's like, well, fuck it, I'm going to leave this and go do this particular thing? Like,
yes, sir. Jesse, so let me ask you this. Do you really think
wait. I just want to ask, like, couldn't that legitimately be a thing?
Yes, it could, but does it seem serious when you say that?
Does it what?
Does it seem like it's plausible when you say that, sir?
Well, yeah. I might be totally making this up or thinking of something different. Didn't Mueller, or were there people around Mueller that had to either leave their positions or their private work or their jobs or something to go and perform like part of that investigation? Was that a thing? I feel like I remember seeing people talk about this.
I think this is precedence. I think this is precedence to the level that this happened.
Matthew Colangelo was the guy's name. Yeah, but Anand, here's the problem. I'm not sure what you're even suggesting because, again, number one, you could interpret it that he really believed that Donald Trump was guilty and that's why he left to go join the case. Number two, it could be even if we granted you that guy really just had a grudge against Trump, that is one man who left the DOJ and is not proof that the entire institution is corrupt.
No, I wouldn't even grant that. What is the evidence? No, I know, but you're saying even if you were to grant it.
Even if we did.
But I don't want, why would we even grant that? Hold on. Just to be clear, is there a shred, any evidence whatsoever that this is what happened, that it was like a corrupt act or anything?
No.
I mean, no, it's definitely in the case. Yes, the DOJ, the top guy decided to step down and he joined a state prosecutor.
It's the third guy. There's no.
Wait. The attorney general stopped out?
Sorry,
wait, what are you talking about?
There's no, he's not. That's what I'm saying. It's the third ranking guy, Michael Colangelo. And again, it's not corrupt. There's nothing inherently corrupt about some person leaving the federal government to go
Michael
work
Colangelo, American former baseball player.
It's weird though, correct? Is it not weird?
Weird and corrupt are not the same. I know Donald Trump is both.
I don't even know if it's weird. Wait, what's the name of this guy? Fuck, somebody give me the fucking name. Or type it out.
Try Matthew Colangelo.
Hey, I don't want to get smoked on this, but hey, let me ask you this though, okay? So do you think that once this gets to the state, New York State Supreme Court, that's not going to get shot down? Because they literally had changed. This is a precedent ruling that they did to enforce that law.
It may get struck down, and maybe for good reason. And you know what that would be? That would just be proof that our flawed justice system worked in Donald Trump's favor. Okay.
Yeah, but
if we're not there yet, we don't know what the state courts will decide. But again, do you want a king?
No, sir. But like, I believe in checks and balances. I believe in checks and balances.
So what's okay? Then what's a check against a president with sweeping immunity?
You can take a look at 2020.
What is a check against a president with sweeping immunity?
It's not sweeping immunity, though. It's not. That's not how they defined it, sir.
It is. I didn't say absolute immunity. I said sweeping, and it is sweeping. What is a check against a president with sweeping immunity?
So define sweeping immunity real quick for everybody.
So again, there are three buckets of this. There's absolute immunity. There is presumptive immunity, and then there's no immunity.
It's for three different types of acts. It's either for a core exclusive power to the president, or it's for things that the president could do. So the core and exclusive, or the exclusive and preclusive, meaning only the president can do it, and it's expressly like delineated or delegated to the president. That's a absolute immunity act. It's a core power, meaning that the president can never be questioned for it, can never be judicially reviewed for it, whatever. Then the second bucket are called they're just called official acts. And these are acts that the president might take as the job of the president, and maybe Congress could do it, or it could be delegated to somebody else. And the president has presumptive immunity here, meaning the government has to overcome the presumptive immunity in order to question about a crime. And then there's unofficial acts, which is things the president doesn't do in service of the office.
And in order to overcome the notion of presumptive immunity, you have to prove that it in no way that violating the presumptive immunity would in any way intrude upon the executive branch prerogatives. Okay, it's an excruciatingly high burden. Okay.
Also, hold on, just real quick. So it looks like Matthew Colangelo, he doesn't even have a fucking Wikipedia article. That's how irrelevant this guy is. So I'm reading here that he became the acting associate attorney general on January 20, 2021. So he wasn't even like truly made to be a part of this position. He was the acting. Oh wait, hold on, wait. This has to be.
Destiny, I'm telling you right now that I promise you that he was a very top level DOJ official who sat down to become a state prosecutor.
Yes, an associate attorney general is rank 3. Stop saying yes or sir. Okay, associate attorney general is like, I don't know if that would be considered rank 3. I think aren't there a lot of associate attorneys general? But if it is, it's third, because the next is going to be deputy, and then the next is going to be your AG, right? But acting means that I think he was basically just kind of slotted in there, and he hasn't been confirmed by the Senate because they haven't had like an official, actual like new thing yet, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like he was like awarded the super ultra prestigious position and then he quit. It sounds like he basically got promoted because other people were getting fucking fired all the time.
And even if
he took a demotion, he took a demotion.
And even if he were, it's not proof of corruption. It would just be proof that some guy leaves federal government to go work in the state government. It happens all the time. Even if this is the first time it's happened at this level of rank, it doesn't matter. Getting back to the bigger issue about presidents, you say you value checks and balances. What is a check against a president with sweeping immunity?
The Congress and Supreme Court.
Cool. Okay, let's talk about that. What can Congress do to check a criminal president with sweeping immunity.
But what are you talking about? They can do everything. We can take a look
What do
at
you mean they can do
2020.
everything? Clearly
Yeah,
not.
2020.
What can they do? Okay, what did Congress
The peaceful
do?
transfer of power.
What did
Wait, it wasn't a peaceful transfer of power. Why do we keep saying that?
it wasn't? Yeah, it wasn't.
Guys.
No.
Can I, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. Wait. It's
Stop
not-
saying yes, sir. Wait, hold on, real quick. Is the certification of the vote part of the transfer of power?
Has it not been challenged before?
Wait, holy shit. Did I just get an echo in here? I said, is the certification of the vote, is that part of the transfer of power?
Yeah, no, it's definitely. But I'm saying, has it not been challenged before?
No, not with violence. No. Actually, wait. I
Yeah,
don't know. No, wait.
but
No,
violence, bro?
No,
Come on,
hold on.
dude.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. When has it ever been delayed before?
You know, like delayed. Is that where we're putting it at? I feel like a checks and balances worked. But hey, Destiny.
No, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Yeah. When has it ever been delayed before? So never, right? When has it been delayed with violence? Never. So that's not a peaceful transfer of power. It was delayed with violence. That's not a
But
peaceful
are
transfer
you
of power.
telling me that Trump got into their ears and said, "Hey guys, gather around. We're going to attack the Capitol today"? Do you have evidence to suggest that?
Yeah. Why were they there?
Because Desi,
Why did they
First of
go
all-
to the Capitol on January 6th?
do you think that they were under President Trump's fucking command to go attack the Capitol? Is
were
that what you're
definitely-
Why were they
suggesting?
there?
Man.
Why were they there on January 6th?
To riot.
Okay, who told them to go there?
What do you mean? No.
Who was
so,
tweeting
it
out,
doesn't-
come to January 6th? Who was tweeting out, come here for a historic event? Who was tweeting out, come here to save our country?
Hey, Desi, can I build
No
this up?
question. Come on, man. Well, listen, you got to
Yes, sir.
answer
Who
questions.
Who was
sir.
there?
Yeah, no, I am. But come on, guys, y'all are framing stuff. So let me just say this: did we not see from the BLM?
BLM,
riots
don't
of
care. Who was there? Okay, who told them to go riot? Which lawmaker or which president said go riot and blow up
Wait,
buildings?
did Donald Trump tell them to go riot?
He said, fight like hell or you're going to lose your country. He called them for a historic event on January 6th to the Capitol. He said, let's come here. And then he said, we're going to march down to the Capitol, where they rioted and they delayed the certification of the vote. Show me an equivalent action on the left.
Yeah, definitely. BLM riots 2020.
No, there's
They
not-
burned down
who?
multiple-
Name
No,
BLM
they
riots. Is
definitely-
that the first name or the
They're not
last name? No, no.
equivalent.
We can talk
Who?
about
Name the
Kamala.
leader. Okay, yeah. What did Kamala say? What did Kamala say?
Okay, so Kamala bailed out.
Nope, not the
those
Minnesota
who were
bailout fund.
burning
Nope,
down-
nope. I'm asking you specifically. What did Kamala say? Donating to a bail fund? If you want to say that that's bad, you automatically lose because Kamala tweeted
No,
one
sir.
time a link to a bail fund. Donald Trump, while somebody was getting assaulted at one of his rallies, said, hey, take care of that guy and I'll pay your legal fees. Okay? Kamala tweeted a link to a donation fund. Donald Trump said that he would cover the legal costs of a guy that assaulted someone in the audience. So if you want to go with that comparison, you've already
Yes, sir.
completely lost. What did Kamala say?
Well, hey, Destiny. So, can I say this? Is that she conveniently tweeted out a bail fund while cities were burning? You're telling me that it was just
there's like 50 million ways these are not comparable. Number one, the president of the United States, which was Donald Trump at the time, has the highest level of civic responsibility. If you're somebody who cares about American values, you should understand with great power comes great responsibility. The president of the United States is more powerful than a United States senator. So even if I granted you the premise about Kamala Harris, which I don't, Donald Trump, what he did was objectively far worse because he's more powerful. He had more responsibility to behave himself. Number one. Number two, Kamala Harris did not summon people to Minneapolis or anywhere else. She did not encourage people to go there. She posted a link to an indigent bail fund that would go to anybody who needed bail, not just violent protesters, but people, anybody who was arrested. No, number two, that is a fact, okay? Number three, when Donald Trump did tell the rioters to stop rioting, they left. They clearly deferred to him. They were under his command. That's why they fucked off. Kamala Harris did not encourage anybody to riot. She condemned the violence, as did President Biden when he was running for office at the time. There is no comparability here. Number four, the violence on January 6th was an attempt by the sitting president to stop the peaceful transfer of power. There was nothing about that during the George Floyd protest. There was no attempt to stop the peaceful transfer of power. Number five, Donald Trump was successful in violating the peaceful transfer of power because there was violence at a major link of the peaceful transfer of power.
And there was an obstruction. They delayed it. It was delayed.
Yes.
It was called off. They stopped certifying the vote for the first time, I think, in all of U.S. history. They
Correct.
stopped certifying the vote because of violence from domestic terrorists. Not because we were in wartime, not because we were going to get attacked by a foreign country, but because the ex-president, the current president of the United States was calling his fucking sycophantic fans to the Capitol to go riot.
And number six, what did Congress do as a check against the president that day? You said that there was a check from Congress against a president.
Well, no. So I say checks and balances work because there was a peaceful transfer eventually. I don't know. It could have been delayed, but I will say that. Yes, sir.
So here's where I think you're confused, or you're missing us, or we're miscommunicating. But I think you're just confused. When I say a check against,
I'm definitely. Wait a minute. I'm definitely not confused, sir.
When I say a check against a criminal president, I think you think a check against a criminal president is, well, sure, a president might be able to commit a shit ton of crimes while they're in office, but as long as they eventually leave, violence or no violence, that's a check against a criminal president. That you're out of your goddamn mind. That is not a meaningful check. A check against a criminal president would be, hey, if a criminal president commits a crime, they will be criminally punished for that crime.
Yeah, checks and leave office. And checks and balances are supposed to work before. It's a check and a balance, not like a consequence and a conviction. Okay, we wouldn't say that the fucking death row is our checks and balances against like murders in society. Ideally, when it comes to government and functions of government, you want to be able to have the government like be able to kind of like control and guide like the other branches to some extent. Not like, holy shit, everything is fucking falling apart. The entire government is imploding. But at the very least, things kind of got along afterwards. That's insane. That's an insane standard to set.
Yeah, I'm stunned by this. So I'm going to ask you again, what is a check against a criminal president after Trump v. United States?
Hey, Jessiah, I'm just going to have to disagree with the premise on this. But hey, real quick, I appreciate y'all's conversation. I just really hope you guys don't think that like I'm a nefarious individual.
I think you're a really nice guy, but I think this is unhinged. I think
okay, sir.
Somebody who says that they that they value America and that they have American values. I am stunned that you're going to vote for a guy that embodies the antithesis to America, a guy who says, treat me like a king, not a public servant, a guy who says that he doesn't have to respect the results of free and fair elections because he's infallible, and if he loses, it must be because he's rigged, a guy who, or the system is rigged, a guy who, lies with impunity, a guy who cheerleads our foreign adversaries, who constantly denigrates America. Like, you love America? He constantly talks shit about America. He constantly says that this country is a third world country, that we're a country in decline. He just did an interview on the Flagrant podcast and actually got pushback from the centristy comedians there when he's like, we're not a great country. And they were like, no, we're always a great country. See, that's where I disagree, because apparently America is only great when he is in charge. And you are either want to, or you are willing to reward all of that. That is insane. That's stunning. You say you're not conservative, but I suspect you might be. And an exercise that you should have in your head is, would I be okay if a Democrat did any of this? And if the answer is no, I would argue you have a moral obligation to be consistent. Obviously, I can't force that. You're free to be as hypocritical as possible. But to any MAGA Republican listening, when you're evaluating something Trump says or does, the first fucking thing you should do is, would I be okay if Obama said or did this? And the answer is no. Then that means it's equally wrong when Trump does it. And if you disagree, you're a fucking unprincipled loser who should be made fun of relentlessly.
Wow.
Yeah. So sorry about that. Do you want anybody else in, or are you calling it?
Yeah. If you got one more, fucking drag one more and fuck it.
Yeah.
Also, listen, I critique Pisco because sometimes when I'm with Pisco, it feels like he's not holding him to the fire enough, okay? Now, I'm going to fight you on one thing, okay? Stop saying, I'll grant you this. Don't grant them anything. Don't grant them a single goddamn thing. Because the things they say are so
I understand.
They're so wrong. They're so... Even the bail fund thing. So the fuck what? It's bail. A judge is the one who decides if you even fucking get it or not. Are we saying that? Yeah. Are you going to tell me that what? Are we all opposed to bail now? Should that just be like an abolition? Like even that, don't grant anything. Don't ever grant. Don't grant them.
Sometimes
we don't do DEI here. We don't do DEI here. We don't do handouts. No equity.
Sometimes my naivete gets the better of me, and I think to myself, if I can just show that even if I grant them this, they still lose, they'll just accept defeat.
No, because all they'll take from that is,
look at this guy granted me. Yeah, you're right.
It'll be like, okay, so I think that Kamala Harris encouraged BLM rioters, and I don't think that what Trump did was that bad. And you'll go, even if we grant that she encouraged the rioters, Trump's encouragement was way worse because he was the president. And they'll be like, okay, the next time they talk to me, they go, oh yeah, I had a debate with Jessiah. Even he agreed that Kamala, encouraged BLM rioters. That's all they'll say. And And then you're like, oh, well.
They'd be lying. They'd be lying, but maybe they will say that. Okay.
So, Stephen, I just have a simple question. Why do you shit on Trump for correction? Why do you shit on Trump for corruption so hard while being such a staunch supporter of Benjamin Netanyahu, who's facing his own corruption charges?
Where do you get the impression that I'm a staunch supporter of Benjamin Netanyahu?
You did the debate with Lex Friedman against where Norman Finkelstein called you a fantastic moron. You spout.
Can you think of a single? What is one thing that I said in support of Netanyahu in that debate?
You spout Zionist. You spout Zionist propaganda. You got embarrassed by Norman Finkelstein on the.
I'll try this one more time. So the answer is you have nothing because I'm incredibly critical of Benjamin Netanyahu. You don't know what you're talking about. You haven't seen the debate, or you just don't know anything about the subject.
I know you're a Zionist and a idiot on top of it.
I am a Zionist. Why are you a Muslim? You want to fight?
What does my religion have to do with anything?
Because I'm a Zionist, so that makes me Islamophobic.
I
mean, you haven't said anything yet, but I'm sure you will. It's only a matter of time.
And please don't. And please don't. Please don't do anything like that. So, you have any defense for MAGA and Trump?
No, he's a piece of shit. He deserves to rot in prison.
Nice. Agreed. Thank you. All right. So
wait.
Next. What?
Is he still here? Fuck.
No, I just kicked him. Well, this is about Trump and MAGA. Listen, I don't know anything about
my bad. He had a Palestine. I just saw the Palestinian flag. Oh man. Okay, that's okay. No, you're right. You were right. You made the right call. Don't listen. To me.
Listen. I mean, whatever. You
made the right call. No. You made the right call. I'm an addict. Okay. Don't listen to me. Go.
Jessiah, which sadly is what my 8th grade yearbook called me. But thank God kids are not cruel. Yeah.
Jessica.
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up? You want to defend Donald Trump and MAGA?
Yes, I want to make it clear that I am not voting for Donald Trump, but I see some things in him that I really wish Kamala, am I saying it right?
Yep. Kamala, yep.
Okay, would show right now, right? So I guess I'm advocating for Trump because I'm sort of making the case for why you shouldn't vote for Kamala. So you mentioned the bail fund and how that doesn't really matter. I think it does when you're running on being the top cop, like that profile of being the toughest on crime. That's sort of a contradiction.
How?
I think, I think that most law enforcement are not in favor of cash bail.
What's wrong with it? Do we think that bail, hold on. What do we think bail is? Actually, I might not even fucking know what bail is. Can you explain to me what you think bail is? And then I'll explain what I think bail is, and then we'll...
It's when you've been arrested, it is the money you give that says that you will return to court while they let you out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a bail has to be granted by a judge, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, so
to be clear, a judge could reject bail, right? You could post bail and a judge could say, no, and decline.
I mean, this is the least of the points I wanted to make.
No, don't do this where we bring a thing up and then it's not a great thing and then we say, well, I don't actually care about that. Hold on. So I just want to be clear.
No, I do care about it.
Okay, yes, because a lot of people bring this up, okay? And if you care, so bail in and of itself isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? If in fact, can we both agree, bail is probably totally fine in concept. It's a good thing in concept. Do we agree with that or no?
Yes, I do believe it is a good thing. It's not that bail is bad. I think it's bad that she runs as this, tough on crime, top cop, candidate, and then also puts up a link to donate to this fund. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't. Does tough on crime mean that you have to let's say, for instance, you ran on tough on crime, being a tough on crime cop, but you also think that there should be like an extra level of appeals for people that don't have money for a criminal defender. Are those contradictory things? You're like, I think that people that have been charged with crimes should be afforded a public defender in order to file a second or third round of appeals. And also we need to be tough on crime. Are these contradictory positions?
No, they're not contradictory.
Okay.
I think the time when she tweeted out that link to the bail fund is sort of important too.
Okay.
I mean, it was during it. She condemned the riots, but she tweeted it out at a time when rioters were being arrested, right? And this was to
we're only
get them out of jail.
Wait. Aren't you always tweeting at a bail fund when people are being arrested? When are you ever gonna talk about a bail fund otherwise? Isn't it always when people are being arrested?
This particular group of people people that were
weren't there
rioting.
lots of people that were being arrested? Weren't there protests all over the United States? Isn't that what we talk about a lot for summer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I have no problem with that. I only have a problem with the emphasis she's put on how many people she put in jail, how tough she was on crime, and also doing that. But again,
wouldn't the difference literally be
she has
that
lots of other.
Sure, but wouldn't the difference literally be like, I put people in jail who I thought belonged to be in jail, but I'll contribute to a bail fund because I think that people should have the right to post bail? Isn't there nothing contradictory whatsoever in those two positions?
I still think there's a contradiction there. There's something odd there.
Okay, do you think that, my final question, I'm sorry, then just, do you think that whatever a position might be on bail or whatever, that Donald Trump's pardoning of all of the people around him that were convicted of crimes, do you think that that's worse when it comes to a position on crime?
Yes, of course, he's a shithead.
Okay.
Yeah, but I also have a case for why, I just think that she's weak on several things. So that was the first thing.
Right. Well, let's just stop right there. Let's.
Okay.
I almost granted you the premise, and then Stephen will have an aneurysm.
Well,
Let's say, but wait a minute.
But
we'll get to them. I promise. But my understanding is that you came in here suggesting that you, even though you're not a big fan of Trump, that you don't think that people should vote for Kamala. But even if she's weak on some. Wait,
well, I don't know if she said that, to be clear. I think she just said these are
what was
arguments she hears against Kamala and things she wishes that Kamala would do that Trump doesn't do. Or things that she wished Kamala would do.
Okay. So let me ask you this then, just to clarify then. Do you recognize, who do you prefer, Kamala or Trump? You can still make all your other points, but I just want to make sure. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, Kamala.
Okay, so you're not trying to create a false equivalence.
No.
Okay, perfect. Now I feel better. See, I was trigger happy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think my one case for Trump, the one thing, besides him saying that LaGuardia is the shittiest airport in the U.S.,
I don't even agree with that. I've been through much shittier airports than LaGuardia, but go ahead.
Okay. He is way more definitive. And I know that sounds weird. He sort of follows the last person that advised him, but at least there's a direction. The number of things that Kamala has gone back on since she ran for president is crazy. She said she would eliminate private health care. She walked that back immediately because there was backlash. And of course, she, mentioned that in the debates.
Immediately. Wait a minute. You might have to refresh my memory on this one. What do you mean immediately?
In 2019, she did a town hall or something where she said she would eliminate private. And then there was immediate backlash, and they wrote a, post on Medium within a week.
So she did all of this in 2019. You're saying she walked it back within a week of making the original claim back in 2019.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Continue.
Yes. I think for climate change, she points out things that have already been passed, but I have no idea what she wants to do. I mean, I thought she supported electric vehicles and that mandate. Then she walked that back. She said she was against fracking. She went to Pennsylvania and now she's cool with it. I mean, she was cool with it when she started, running with Biden. But yeah, that sort of flipped. I don't know. There's other things too. So that worries me that she's sort of going with whatever is popular in that moment, which is the thing that I associate most with Trump. He just does whatever will get him liked in that moment. And I think that she's sort of falling into that.
But didn't you say she's doing things you wish she would do things like Trump?
I wish she would say what she wants to do and what she will do.
But Trump doesn't do that, right? Because like you said, Trump's position on things really depends on the last person to whom he spoke, right?
Okay, what I think will happen is total inaction. Trump would at least do something, even if it was shitty. I think that she is set up to not do anything. I think it'll be 4 years of
here's where I'm confused by that. So obviously we're speculating because she's never been president. But she has been vice president. She's worked very closely with President Biden, second in command of the executive branch. The Biden administration, the Biden-Harris administration has just gotten a lot more done than the Trump-Pence administration, right? So if there was inaction, There's much more inaction from the Trump administration than the Biden-Harris administration. So why would you assume that there'd be inaction from Harris, given that she is the co-captain of the team that had the most action compared to the other guy?
I don't know how strongly she actually advocated. I know she talked to, leaders in Guatemala, Venezuela, to tell them to stop sending people. Did we have the most people cross the border over the last 4 years?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, it was record-breaking numbers the first 3 years of the Biden-Harris administration. But again, her job was to address root causes of migration, with ultimately the goal to stem the flow over time. And again, over the past 5 months, the rates of undocumented crossings at the southern border have been basically cut in half. So, but my point is, what would Trump do? Because we're comparing the two of them, and you say that Kamala does things that you wish that she doesn't do things that you wish Trump would do. And I'm thinking, even on the action thing, she's been part of a much more legislatively and executively successful and active administration than Trump was. So why would you want her to be like Trump when Trump was worse?
I would like her to have the confidence of Trump. And I really don't know how many of those decisions are attributable to her. How big of a part did she play?
I'm only willing to do this because you said you were a Kamala supporter. Okay. Otherwise, fuck MAGA. So close your ears if you're MAGA. Okay. I actually do kind of agree. I think it feels, even though I think you can make good arguments for a candidate who changes their mind as the electorate changes their mind. I think you can make arguments for why that's fine that she, ran a lot more extreme than Biden. But then once the electorate decided, well, we want to support these policies, she changes her mind. I do admire people like, for instance, Bernie Sanders, who've been campaigning and running and talking about the same fucking things for like 30 or 40 years. There is a level of genuinity that comes from people that do that. I agree, that's admirable. That being said, that trait is entirely absent in Donald Trump. I understand that Donald Trump talks with a lot of force, but like right now he's talking forcefully about how Republicans, gave you the ability to have pre-existing conditions in healthcare. And Donald Trump spent the first few months of his administration trying to destroy that in Congress. And when he failed, he went to the Supreme Court to destroy that. So while Donald Trump might speak a little bit more forcefully on it, he's entirely hypocritical, right?
Yeah, well, maybe one other thing I can point out. Everybody's been upset that he will definitely appoint loyalists, people that just agree with him.
Yeah.
The two that Kamala has announced is that she is going to put a Republican in her cabinet and that she's starting this bipartisan council.
Yeah, the advisory.
Biden said that he was going to have a female vice president and he was going to have a black woman on the Supreme Court. Why is she already cucking out to Republicans before she needs to? I would worry that the Supreme, if she, if we need another justice, that she will, compromise seriously.
Well, I agree. I agree. I agree that, I don't think she'll pardon Trump. I do agree that she's cucking out a bit. Okay. And I would encourage her to be far more extreme. That being said, right, like Biden said, he is a president for every American, not just for one party.
Yeah.
And it's probably important if you're in leadership that you keep an olive branch open for Republicans that want to become involved again in participating in the United States of America. That you have to keep that. It can't be, well, now we're only the Democratic Party. Fuck you guys. Even though that's what I would say they should say, because fuck them. But it's probably important for her to say, like, hey, listen, if you're a Republican, if you want to work with our administration, we want to do things, like, we should probably do it. Because Biden had that attitude, and Biden was incredibly and unbelievably successful as a president, unimaginably so. And he exceeded all, even when I'm hearing fucking Emma Vinglin or whatever, and Sam fucking Cedar saying shit like, Biden did a lot better than we thought he would. He clearly knocked it out of the park. And nobody thought that the senile Parkinson's dude who, stumbles across the stage could pass as much legislation bipartisanly as he did. So I do think it's good that she does things like that. Like, hey, listen, it is going to be administration for everybody, even though I'm not completely, cold on the idea of, you wanted a civil war? I'm just kidding. But so, I understand.
Yeah. So, and I'll just say this in concurrence, as somebody who is an unapologetically partisan Democrat and was before Stephen recently joined our ranks. I totally agree too that, I would prefer, especially given that good faith requires reciprocity. If you and I are having a conversation and I act in bad faith and you act in good faith, by definition, we had a bad faith conversation. If it's not reciprocal, it's just by definition bad faith. Republicans have been acting in bad faith, and I'm not convinced that Kamala Harris will be able to succeed where President Biden and President Obama failed in trying to, make the Republican Party a good faith, loyal opposition party. So I too would prefer her to say, hey, listen, I appreciate the endorsements. Hopefully we can align on some policy things, but I intend to govern with a Democratic agenda and make it abundantly clear. As a matter of fact, Hutch and I are going to be having a conversation with Kyle Kulinski and Crystal Ball, I think next week or something like that, about this particular strategy. I do think it's risky, but what she is trying to do, I think, yes, it's a civic level strategy in the sense that, she wants to show that she's a bipartisan president. I also think she thinks it's an electoral strategy as well, that she can peel away a sufficient number of never Trumpers, and that those on the left, her leftward flank, will recognize when push comes to shove that Trump is still worse, even if they think Kamala's more moderate than they'd like her to be. And so, she's probably doing a cost benefit analysis here. Like, hey, listen, I can pull away from Trump without really risking my left flank. It is risky, but I will say there's actually some polling data to support that it's working, because her support among Republicans has went from 5%, according to, I think, New York Times Siena poll last month, and now it's at 9%. Okay. And with election margins these small, that could be a game changer. It is a risk. It is a huge risk, but it's based on at least sound logic. But I would totally agree. If she ends up governing as a centrist, I would be disappointed, because I don't think that – I think we need – this is why I like Tim Walz. Tim Walz understands power. He's the governor of Minnesota, and Minnesota has a bicameral legislature, and in their Senate, the Democrats only have a 1-seat majority. So if they lost that seat, the Republicans would be able to stymie everything that he does. And with that 1-seat majority, he just pushes through. He's like, hey, listen, we'll come to the table and negotiate in good faith, but at the end of the day, I'm more powerful than you, and I'm going to get my way more often than you. And I think that that's how Democrats should govern. And so I hope that she does. But again, even granting all that, you'll say that forbidden word.
How do you guys feel about this council that she? Sorry, I'm coughing.
A council's fine. A council's fine as long as it doesn't necessarily, reflect conservative policy. I mean, what she's saying is, I will hear advice from a bipartisan group. It's risky because, in theory, it means that, if she listens to that group more often than I'd like, then she might govern in a centrist way. But we haven't gotten there yet. And even if she does, as bad as that is, even if she does, that's better than a Republican. It's better than Trump.
I guess so. I could see ways that
no, you
I could prefer the way Trump does things.
No.
Yes, absolutely. I could.
What could Trump do that you would prefer?
Well, let's say on foreign policy, she has not given any details on Taiwan, on Ukraine, on Israel.
Hold on.
Right?
That's
we know
not,
what Trump's going to do.
Wait. First of all, that's not true for any of those two things. Okay, she said, for instance, we need a ceasefire in Israel. I'm pretty sure she said that we should be committed to Ukraine. Donald Trump is the one that says over and over again, I can't say anything I don't want to spoil.
Yeah, but he will do something.
Will he? Wait, what? He didn't do anything for Ukraine.
So what I'm saying is that she hasn't put any conditions or end date for Ukraine. She hasn't put any conditions on giving more weapons to Israel. She won't even say whether we'll send troops to Taiwan, and Biden has said that we would.
Has Biden said we send troops to Taiwan? Wait, did Biden say that explicitly?
I think he said that we would defend
Those are two very different things.
Taiwan.
We defended Israel militarily, but we didn't send troops there, right?
No. I think he has said send people, military.
Wait, who send what? Sorry, I was checking.
Biden has said that we would defend with boots on the ground.
If China invades Taiwan?
Yes.
So he did. I do recall him saying something to that effect, but then the State Department walked it back. Like, no, we're making that commitment. But again, that's Biden. You want Harris to defend Taiwan with boots on the ground?
Well, no, she was saying that at least Biden gave a concrete answer.
Gotcha. Well,
she said we'd have the most lethal military in the world. So why can't she say what we're going to do with it?
Why would you? But I mean, past a certain point, why would you say that? What would you want her to say?
I just want her to have a position. That's me personally. I know that Trump is, the only reason he gets things done with foreign policy is because people don't know what he's going to do.
Wait.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm trying so hard. Tell me what I can do to please dispel this myth or illusion from your brain. Trump did not get anything done for foreign policy for the U.S. What do you think he got done? Or where does this impression come from? I'm not trying to grill you. Like in 1974, in the Durham talks of the largest public. I'm not trying to like grill you. I'm just curious. Like, give me your general impression. Like, what do you feel like Donald Trump like accomplished, foreign policy wise?
I mean, he moved the embassy to Jerusalem, which was insane, but he did it.
Okay, that is one thing he did do. Okay, but what else?
Wait, why would you? Why
no, that's something. No, that's fine. No, that's fine. She said something. I'm just curious. I just want to know where these impressions come from. What else?
He cut funding to NATO.
Well, I don't know if he did that. Or
at least threatened to.
But he did threaten to. Yeah, okay. And then what else?
Didn't we withdraw from any agreement with Iran?
Yep, we did. Okay, cool. Yep. Okay,
with
gotcha.
Nothing to replace it. I understand there's nothing to replace it, but...
Okay, that's fine. I would argue that 2 of 3 of these at the very least are bad, but okay, those are things that were done though. Okay, I was just curious where the impression came from. Okay.
I just find that not giving definitive answers, plus already saying that we'll have a Republican in the cabinet, a Republican on this weird committee that she's starting, it sounds very like Russian. To have a committee of advisors.
Wait a minute. No.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, not at all. No. Presidents. I mean, that's what the cabinet is. That's a group of advisors. Presidents actually, there's a generic title, White House advisor, senior advisor, that they can just give out like candy if they want to. You don't even have to be like secretary of X or, director of Y.
Also, I'd be careful. Cabinet would technically. Are these called they're called the president's advisor, but the cabinet is really it's the heads of all of your departments.
Right, but I mean constitutionally, that's the whole genesis of it. In theory, all they are doing is exercising the president's delegated authority. That's the whole genesis of it. But my point is that the president has a gazillion advisors in like very specific constitutionally mandated roles or roles dictated by federal statute and others in an informal way. What's the problem with that? That's not Russian.
But why announce this bipartisan council and promise there'll be Republicans on it?
Because again, I think for one reason Stephen provided and one that I provided. Stephen says, she's probably trying to signal to the American people that she's not going to be just a president for Democrats, but a president for all Americans, including those who don't vote for her. Number one. And number two, perhaps even as a cynical electoral ploy saying, hey, listen, you never Trumpers, I'm not a communist. You will have a seat at the table. And I'm signaling in that direction. So, and by the way, these reasons are not mutually exclusive. So 2 good reasons why she might do that. And I grant you that there are risks associated with that, with which I am uncomfortable. But there's nothing.
I understand. No, but I understand more for what her thing, because all you just said, all that shit, she's just like, I don't give a fuck about that. Give me something like just like. She wants like the committee on deporting 50 Mexicans. Now, I'm not trying to say you're racist, but like something that's like, it's super concrete. It's very clear. It's punchy. It's like, you do this, you do that. And then boom, boom, boom. And like, that's like the committee for like, give Marjorie $50. On my first day in office, I'm going to make a committee. We're going to put 2 people on it. We're going to find Marjorie and we're going to give her $50. And that's like a boom. It's the thing that's done that you can point to. I think that's like kind of what she's alerting to.
Yeah. I just think, from like elementary school that when you put a ton of people sort of like in charge, I know they won't be in charge, but when you take that many different opinions, you end up not really doing anything.
But we don't even know how many people would be on it. It could be that the number of advisors that Kamala Harris has would be fewer in number than the number of advisors that Biden has or that Trump has, because we there's not like an audit of what the Harris White House would look like, number one. And number two, if your complaint is that she is too ambiguous on important issues for you, that's perfectly fair. It's a complaint that you're getting a lot, or that she's getting a lot. But to say that where I have beef is like following it up, she should do what Trump does. Well, Trump flip-flops on positions all the fucking time. Number one. Number two, you've also said that, many of the positions that Trump takes are just mere regurgitations of the last person to whom he spoke. And it just like, I don't know. I don't think that's comparatively, I'm much happier with Kamala than Trump. I would much rather have her ambiguity than Donald Trump's certitude, which then flips, in 5 minutes when he talks to somebody else and someone dangles car keys in front of his fucking face and he just paws at it.
Yeah. I mean, like what I'm saying is at least he makes decisions, even if they're shitty. Eventually he makes a decision. I just feel like the next 4 years will be stale.
If the next 4 years are stale, it's because we have a Republican opposition in the Senate or the House, or perhaps both, because that's the other important thing to those listening. It's not enough to just elect Vice President Harris. You've got to, get the trifecta. You've got to get all of it. Otherwise it will be.
Yeah, that's true. I just think it's so early and so unnecessary to, you were talking about DEI hires. So Tim Walz, and then probably 2 other white dudes, right? 2 other Republicans. Oh, my headphones dropped out. Sorry.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you said there. Stephen, you got anything else for her?
I mean, I just think it lacks courage. Why was Biden able to say he would add women and Black women like as some of his first actions? And I haven't heard what she'll do in the first 100 days. I've only heard her promise to compromise heavily.
I mean, like the truth is the challenge is you're. The truth is that it's challenging navigating in an arena where the other person is not playing by any set of rules. So any concrete position that she states is a position that Donald Trump is going to attack like crazy, or the Republicans are going to attack like crazy. And then you also are wasting time like giving concrete positions when the other person is basically just rolling around in the mud saying insane, unhinged shit constantly. So it's difficult in that position to actually, like illustrate anything like concretely. Like you can't actually get into anything concretely. Like, personally, I actually don't really have the best understanding of where we're going to be policy-wise once Kamala is elected. But like, I don't blame Kamala or Biden for that. The reality is I would be upset if they were to get out and start talking policy a whole bunch, because against a conservative, it's a waste of fucking time, because they don't talk policy. They don't care about policy. They don't vote on policy. So for her to get up and just talk policy to who? To the left? That's it. It's not like we're doing a primary right now. Like, we're past the primary. It's time for the general. So now you just have to be in general election mode. And Republicans and conservatives have decided that they don't vote on policy anymore in the United States. They vote on whether or not Olympic boxers have dicks or XY chromosomes, and they vote on their perception of, how many dogs and cows have been eaten this week by Haitians or whatever. They're fake, or how many machines we have running right now, creating hurricanes or whatever the fuck else they're obsessed with at this particular moment in time. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I recognize that you can't run on policy, and it wouldn't make sense for her right now when she's trying to appeal to the middle. But I don't know. I would like to hear her make some tough calls. Like,
I mean,
say
she has
what
given
she's
some
going
concrete,
to do.
like she said about, like, she wants to give a $15,000 tax credit to first-time homebuyers. She wants to expand the child tax credit. She wants to give a $50,000 deduction for small businesses. Like, these are concrete things.
Yeah, personally, those won't benefit me. And I think the small business loan is only if you generate profits your first year.
Yeah, that one sounded kind of retarded to me. I don't really know how that's supposed to work, but I'm just saying they're concrete things.
I get it,
hold on,
though.
you're being critical, or hold on, you're being critical of a concrete proposal. And before with Trump, you were just happy that he managed to flap his fucking gums and say something, okay, and put together a coherent, concrete thing at all. So, okay, listen, so we're the same for Kamala, all right?
Yeah. I know no one will ever do this, but I wish she would say, I am also going to raise taxes and cut Social Security. And that is the way it has to be. I know that will never happen.
I wish
someone had the courage to say.
I don't think we'll ever cut Social Security. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
It's the third rail of politics. You do that, and that's the end of your career. Well, listen, Jessica, I appreciate the conversation. Stephen, is there anybody else you want to chat to, or are you done? Because if you're done, then
I think I'm pretty
we'll end with
good.
her.
Unless some other person tweeted, did we call this person out? She said that we mentioned them or him, or maybe it was called the right girl. But this guy on Twitter is saying that we called them out about the delaying of the certification of the vote, and that it has happened before. But
I didn't see this notification.
Oh, it was okay. Well, fuck him. Okay, sorry. What's up?
Can you hear me still?
Yep.
Or am I? Yeah, that's the last thing I will say. I am getting the feeling that she will concede on the first night, even if she shouldn't. That's
what?
how, yeah.
No, she's saying if she loses, if Harris loses, you think Harris will concede to Trump the first night?
I think she'll fold
No.
way too quickly. Yeah.
I don't think we will have a definitive answer about who is going to win the first night at this point. And that's the other thing, Stephen. Like, I'm thinking about your election night stream. I don't even know what that's going to look like. Are we going to smash monsters and stay up for 72 hours? Like, what is this even?
We're going to go to sleep early because we're going to know by 9:30 after the final polls up closing. It's going to be such a landslide win for Kamala.
Man,
we're just going to be going to bed early that night. It's going to be so simple and so easy. And then I'm going to stand there while IRI calls you, and he's going to say, "Look, man, you were being so down on it. It was so obvious we were going to dominate the whole time."
Yeah, I think we're going to have one point where the Republicans are up in the Electoral College vote, and there's going to be a Jessiah-sized hole in the wall. You're going to have to scrape me off the concrete. So,
I mean, just if she is behind and it looks bad, won't part of you kind of wish she was willing to do whatever it takes?
No.
To become president? Not even a little bit?
I mean, the same part of me there is the same part that's looking for the best Trigicon fucking site to put on my AR-15 for when we go out and do the Civil War. At that point you're at
yeah, I don't even know. I don't know. Apparently, some Democrats, not the leadership, some are, they are now also hedging about whether or not they're going to commit to certifying Trump's victory. Yeah, not the leadership, not Hakeem Jeffries, not Chuck Schumer, anything like that. And yeah, it'll be interesting because right now the Republicans are doing everything in their power to, yes, I will use the word rig the election in their favor. They were trying to get, they sent Lindsey Graham out to Nebraska, Stephen's home state, to persuade his fellow Nebraskans to change the voting laws, how votes are apportioned
to do winner take all.
To a winner take all. They waited until Maine was no longer in a position to respond and do the same thing on their side against the Republicans. And that failed, at least temporarily, but it's possible that the they may change their minds on it. The shit that's going on with Georgia. As a matter of fact, the DOJ, I think, just sued Virginia. I think I read something today. I think it was Virginia for a voter roll purge 90 days before the election. And so they're going for broke, man. And we didn't get a chance to talk about this, Stephen, in our thing earlier today, but Musk is potentially, according to one source, and I think a New York Times article, somebody who's familiar with the books says that Musk might be donating up to $500 million to the America Super PAC to try to boost Trump's fundraising.
Yeah, that's the richest guy in the world, right?
Yeah,
he's the one that's doing the Neuralink thing, right? To put the microchips in people's brains.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's the one who bought X, the publicly traded social media platform, and then turned it private with loan money help from Saudi Arabia, right?
Right.
Okay, gotcha. And then he's the guy who also, was he on the Epstein flight logs or just in pictures with him?
I think just in pictures. I can't remember.
Just in pictures with him? Okay, gotcha. All right, crazy.
Oh, and remember, he's a free speech absolutist, except when he's not. Gotcha. So he'll yank handles away from people in order to appropriate them for his super PACs. He'll ban people tracking his plane, which, I mean, again, he has every right to do, but it does contradict the free speech absolutist thing. And he's pulling as many strings as possible to land a sweet, cushy role in a second Trump administration. You may end up with a shadow president, Elon Musk. But I mean, you can't say that because that would sound conspiratorial, right? It's not like the right would ever say anything like that about, shadowy cabal or whatever.
True.
At least it wouldn't be Peter Thiel, who I would be way more scared of. Isn't he also donating a ton of money?
I hear Peter Thiel's name is thrown around a lot, and he's like a weirdo. I say weirdo that lurks in the background. I actually don't know anything about him other than apparently he's a bad guy. My feelings about him are negative because I've read so much he's a bad guy, but I don't know anything about him.
He used to be buddies with JD Vance. And fun fact, he founded a company called Palantir, which is named after the evil crystal balls in Lord of the Rings.
Base. Also, is being friends with JD Vance in the past, is that even a bad thing? Like, has JD Vance been unhinged, like, historically, or is it just, like... Because listen, his tweets or his text messages about Trump were pretty based.
They were at one point. So everything I've learned about JD Vance has been like since he ran for Senate. Like I had no idea. Hillbilly Elegy and all that shit. I've never read the book, never watched the movie. So he was like a cipher to me until he ran against, I think it was Tim Ryan in Ohio. Mm-hmm. But Tourniquet says Palantir. Jessiah, never say it like that again. I apologize. Okay.
Is it kind of crazy to imagine that like 8 years ago, Paul Ryan was seen as like the new face of the new Republican Party, and now he's been replaced by like fucking the likes of like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jim Jordan,
Mike Johnson, Kevin McCarthy. Yeah, like in the fact that he's a rhino. He's a rhino. It's so sad. It's so depressing. It really is. It really is. So I'm out. I appreciate it. Listen, this was really fun. We should do this again sometime.
Yeah, I'll be here. I love you. Be careful, babe.
All right, love you too, buddy. Bye.